Croatia doing what they have to. They're pushing on, they're taking a risk. Guardiol. Lovren. Lovren's put in a wonderful cross, looking for Budimir.
Great header, Thiago. Brilliant, brilliant header. He's under quite a bit of pressure here, Thiago Silva.
How long can he go on for?
Forever by the looks of it. Look at that, just great positioning, great header. Here's another look at this goal. It's just beautiful. He's using his teammates well. He's too sharp, too quick.
Just so much in that to digest and enjoy. Oh boy, did they.
Such a talent when he's on it.
On it when he wants to be.
It's just unstoppable.
When he has to be.
Yeah.
It's a two-pronged attack now, Petkovic and Budimir. That's going to be a free kick for Croatia. Modric. Another one. Pedro with the foul. 8 minutes to go. This isn't done yet. Maya. Guardiol. Perisic against Anthony. And Anthony has done brilliantly.
Yeah, good defending.
So Man United won Spurs 0 with that one.
He's doing exactly what Perisic wanted to do. Gets his body in there strong.
And the Croatia change. Brozovic has run his last today, and possibly for the World Cup. On comes Mislav Orsic. Another one who's been under the weather in the build-up to this game. I'm sure he can do plenty of charging about in 7 minutes. Anthony. Maya won it, but it's going to be a Brazil corner.
Been really good, Anthony, since he came on. Added something to this Brazil side that was a bit lacklustre in that first half.
Neymar. Fred. Anthony. Neymar, he's barged to the floor by Petkovic. Dalic with a glance up at the screen to see the clock. Anthony. Lapse of concentration. Perisic. Modric with the tackle. Guardiol turns it safely back to Livakovic. Too high, way too high for Mislav Orsic. Croatia have got to some degree, stick to their passing and possession, just move it a bit more quickly.
Well, yeah, if you're going to play balls like that, then get them in to Petkovic at the top, into his chest, on the edge of the box, and Go a little bit more direct soon.
Guardiola, that was too casual. Played through for Fred. Guardiola's recovered. I think he did enough, got to the ball.
Great tackle.
Yeah.
Perisic. There was Danilo. Modric. And there was Casemiro, but he's only helped it onto a Croatian player.
Play it.
And that'll be helped onto Oršić by Vlasic. They've got 3 to aim for. Oršić pulls it across.
Get in.
It's been buried by Pekovic.
It's 1-1. No way.
Brazil were all but celebrating victory.
Get in.
But Croatia are never, ever done.
What a goal. What a goal.
Well, they just don't go away, this team.
Oh my God.
They've got spirit, they've got fight, and they've got quality. They get this ball alive. And there's like a Pekovic in the middle of the box there. When he strikes this, it just gets a tiny deflection. It just takes it past Alisson, just there. Off the leg of Marquinhos. Into the bottom corner. Who would have seen this coming? 1-1. We could be going back all the way.
Alisson couldn't stretch far enough. That's what it means to Zlatko Dalic and those Croatia supporters. What did we say earlier? They haven't been beaten in 5 of the last 6 World Cup games when they've conceded the first goal. Doesn't matter when it comes, they always have something by way of reply.
Brazil just didn't manage the transition in midfield well enough. Was bouncing around and Modric just took control of it, played a lovely ball out wide.
That's unbelievable. This late into this game.
You've got a foul there, you've got to stop the game.
Croatia 1, Brazil 1. The yellow card that Pekovic got for taking his shirt off is largely academic.
Going for his ankles.
Free kick, Croatia.
Well, you'd have to say on the balance of things, it's probably only what they deserve.
For what they're about.
Yeah.
We had a moment of magic for Brazil. And then we have a moment of sheer bloody-mindedness from Croatia. They will not be beaten. They never know when they are. The nation's president, Zoran Milanovic, was saying this week, we're like the Germans used to be. When a miracle is needed, Croatia win. They create their own. Impossible's made possible time and again. Maya, free kick, Croatia. Have to take it again and they won't mind one bit. Back to those penalty stats. Croatia 3 out of 3 at World Cups. Brazil 3 out of 4, but they have also won their last 3. None of which matters a jot to what's about to unfold, maybe. Modric leaves it. Maya takes it on and fancies his chances, but Alisson knows that he's going wide and he's saving his energy for the effort that he's going to have to put in shortly.
Not bad though from Maya.
Two minutes added on. There might be one more chance left in this yet.
It's only the other day we were saying get rid of extra time, guy.
Oh.
This has been one of the best extra times I've seen in a long time.
This has been terrific, this extra 30, and it's not done yet. Here's Anthony. Stopped by Guardiola. Out by Perisic.
And these two have been at it. It's a poor free kick to give away at this time of the game from Perisic. He's got to stay on his feet there, be smarter. Antony's been playing him.
It is one last ball into the box.
But he's just gone after him. Now they've got to deal with this free kick.
Neymar's been the hero once. What has he got here? In from Neymar. It's not away yet. And there is a chance, and Livakovic is ready for it. Fred, free kick Croatia. How good does he continue to be?
Yeah, I mean, he should save it. It's right at him. But he's there.
He wasn't bad either. Oliver Kahn watches on approvingly.
Really appreciated this performance, definitely. Like I said, it's right at him. He's got to stop it.
Gentleman there, biting his nails. Croatia supporters must be well used to this. Could you ever get used to this?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Livakovic goes long, and that will do it for the 120 minutes plus. It's another one involving Croatia that's going to be sorted by a penalty shootout. Neymar and co thought they'd won it. They had Croatia at checkmate. But this bunch of checkmates is a band of brothers that's never beaten. 1-1 at full time. Plenty of fun to come.
Well, that was fun, and as Guy says, there's plenty more fun to come in just a few minutes. That was, Jürgen, a very entertaining 30 minutes.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it really kind of got heated up. I mean, beautiful goal, obviously, by Neymar. And then we all thought game over. We all thought that's it, you know. But the Croatia never gave up. They always believed in maybe one or two counter breaks and something will pop up, and it did. You know, 2 minutes before the end of the extra time, Petkovic got his chance and put it in with a slight deflection.
As Jürgen says, they never gave up. They never do give up. And actually, Guardiol's tackle a couple of minutes before the goal, Alex, showed that they were still going right till the very end.
Fantastic. And sometimes you just need a moment like this to spark everyone's belief, to go down the other end. It's this sequence of play, all starting from him and everyone on the ball, showing composure. That man Modric right here to set things on their way, Micah.
Yeah, and then having got the composure in the dying minutes of the game, Orsic comes on and it's a wonderful goal, of course. It does take a little deflection, but they take the gamble and look at the seams there. Brilliant. You'll see it better on this angle here. Just takes the deflections. There off Marquinhos. Alisson, no chance. But that is the belief we're talking about.
It's his first goal for Croatia in over 2 years for Petkovic. So let's not.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Let's hope he can still claim that and it doesn't go.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely claiming that. It was going on target, of course it was. But you look at the scenes there.
It's why you love the game. It's actually their first shot on target, their first goal, and how crucial to take them to penalty.
I mean, you said it there, Jürgen. Do you think Brazil thought they'd won it with 5 minutes to go? It didn't seem as though they managed the second period of extra time as well as the Croatians.
I think there was always a little bit of a fear in their minds that something could still happen. They didn't, in my opinion, didn't go enough for the second goal. Just finish it off. Try to create another 2-3 chances and score the second one. So they left them back in the game. They left Croatia back in the game, and that's, as we said, this is a nation. This is a team that never gives up. So they're waiting for this little moment, and it came. And now shocked Brazil. Now the mindset of the Brazilian players is really difficult to read because the momentum is with Croatia.
I mean, you're nodding. Psychologically, that must be an element that Brazil think, even though they haven't. We've lost this. We've thrown this away, but they can't think like that.
Absolutely not. And actually the mindset of knowing a Croatian team that have already won a penalty shootout, so the confidence that they will have going into this one. But Micah, you said you were speaking for the people. You wanted penalties. Look, you got your wish.
I don't know if the people wanted penalties, to be honest.
I just assumed. Maybe you should have asked the people before claiming that that's what the people wanted. You're going into a shootout now, Jurgen. You're taking one of the penalties. Presumably, don't change what you've been doing in practice this week. Stick to your plan.
Stick to your plan. Stick to your plan A. I mean, you can always change the plan when you're on the walk now from halfway line to the penalty spot. If you are not so sure about it, go to plan B. But you better have a plan B. And there's always a moment, obviously, if the goalkeeper reacts a bit too early, commits too early in a corner, then you can still change. Meanwhile, you kind of are about to hit the ball. But you've got to have a plan, definitely.
I mean, the other thing in all of this, Micah, we talk about the psychological side of things. Livakovic saved 3 penalties in the last shootout, so he is going to be absolutely bouncing as we get ready for
he's going to be buzzing. And he had a really good game today as well, so he'll be going in there full of confidence, but I'm intrigued to see the outcome.
As you can see, the penalties are taking place right in front of the biggest section of Brazilians in this stadium. God.
Yeah, that was the cheer you might have heard in the background. They won the toss of the coin for which end the penalties are going to be taken. First in line is Liverpool's goalkeeper, Alisson Becker. And first up for Croatia is going to be Nikola Vlasic.
Oh, shit.
So where they can, actually this is the only way they can, keep the order from the last round against Japan. Because Brozovic has gone off, Pacalic has gone off, and Livaya never got on. Vlasic went first and scored first, putting it to the goalkeeper's right. Only Germany have won 4 out of 4 penalty shootouts at World Cups. Croatia are 3 out of 3. Vlasic, once at Everton, against Alisson, very much of Liverpool.
Come on.
Vlasic scores, and emphatically so.
Very good penalty. You can tell he'd made his mind up exactly where he was going, straight down the middle. Good start for Croatia.
Brazil. Here's Rodrigo. His idol can't watch. Rodrigo, only 21 years old. He's already wrapped up a few good games for Real Madrid, some very good games. How are his nerves? It's a Neymar-style approach. But it's a save.
Get in.
Livakovic, who's at it again for Croatia.
Get in.
He saved the first 2 against Japan, 1 out of 1 now against Brazil.
Yeah, it's not a good penalty.
No way.
It's easy to say that when they never go in, but it's not in the corner. Fair play to Livakovic. Just made save after save today, and he's obviously feeling very confident.
Not miss.
And a substitute, it's Lovro Maia. Modric's turn will come. Maia, left-footed. And Maia scores, and he went down the middle too.
2-0 right now, Clemens. So it's when it gets to 4, yeah? So when it gets to 4,
There's no doubt this will start to play on Alisson's mind. They keep going down the middle.
Experienced heads now in the Brazil team. Casemiro really must score to make sure this doesn't run away from his nation. Casemiro does score. 2-1 Croatia after 2 kicks each.
But it had to be a good one, because Livakovic went the right way. I think even for a keeper, when you're going the right way and you're getting close, you're still getting those positive feelings that you're going to get another one. It's a really good spot kick, though, from that man.
Now it is his old mate from the Santiago Bernabeu, the Real Madrid legend, Luka Modric, who is his nation's regular penalty taker. All of those years in the game, all of those accolades, now a pressure penalty. What pressure! What pressure on Luka Modric's shoulders. He showed no signs of any.
There's no way. Come on!
Well, there was plenty of it. Plenty of it. As cool as you like, slotted into that corner. I think you saw from Alisson there that do I dive, do I stand still, is he going to go down the middle moment?
Pedro's turn.
It's not the fourth one yet.
Only his fourth international appearance, all as a substitute.
So if he misses, and Croatia
International newcomer. And he scores. Up to the task. Brazil still in this, but they need a Croatia mistake or an Alisson wonder save.
Yeah, really good. Stutters and starts. Sends Livakovic the wrong way early. Just slots it in the corner.
Slavosic has not been on the field very long at all, the last substitute. But he's taken Croatia to the brink of the World Cup semi-final with that.
Absolutely magnificent.
What about that for a penalty? Right in the side netting.
Yeah.
You don't stop those. You can go as early as you like.
Now Brazil must score. Neymar hasn't gone yet.
Yep, so if they miss,
Well, as old-headed Marquinhos
win.
is entrusted with keeping his country in the competition.
Come on, miss.
Marquinhos has to beat Livakovic or Brazil are out of the World Cup. Croatia have yet again! They truly are a footballing miracle! Neymar left high and dry. Little bit reminiscent of Mo Salah for Egypt against Senegal in the Africa Cup of Nations final. You surely don't leave your main man till last.
No way, let's go.
The main man for Croatia has been Dominic Livakovic again, saving the first spot kick from Rodrigo that set the tone.
Oh my God, look at that.
But Croatia, from the penalty mark, are dead-eye perfect. What a story, Jermaine. Again, involving this little footballing nation.
What more can you say? They're just so spirited. They never give in. You always felt that they deserved something from this game. Hearts have been broken in Brazil. But I have to say, I don't think they did enough over the 90 minutes.
120 minutes.
Yeah, more extra time to win the game. They could have done more, should have done more. But nothing but respect, as you can see, between two old teammates. The Croatia go through to the semi-finals. What a game.
For the first time ever, Croatia get the better of Brazil. For the second World Cup in a row, Croatia are in the semis. And for Brazil, the dream of the Hexa, a sixth world crown, remains just that. The gap since their last will extend to 24 long years. Croatia, they are a jewel.
They are an absolute jewel. I mean, bar two pockets of Croatian fans decked in red and white, the air has gone out of this stadium big time. say 90% of the Escafe there, 90% of the stadium, Brazilian. There were a couple in front of us who actually couldn't watch that final penalty from Marquinhos. She just turned around and put her head on the barrier and couldn't even watch. But the achievement, Alex, from Croatia, not just in this tournament, but looking at the bigger picture. Today was their 50th major tournament match. Their first was only back in 1996 at the Euros against Turkey. And yet they are now heading to their second successive World Cup semi-final, having knocked out Brazil.
It's absolutely incredible. And when you talk about this Croatian team, the experience that they have in there, with Modric as well, surrounded by all the other players, it's a complete team effort. And we shouldn't even be surprised, because 2018, didn't they get to 3 knockout extra time anyway? They know it, they like it, they can handle that pressure. But look, Brazil going out, who coming into the tournament, so many people, favourites, they were my favourites. I hold up my hands. I remember saying on the first game, yep, Brazil all the way to the final. But this is a World Cup that just keeps throwing up surprises and keeps giving and giving.
I mean, the question is, how can they look so good in one game, Brazil, and how poor and look poor at times in this one? But that's down to them. That's down to the Croatians.
Yeah, I mean, you are only as good as your opponents are. And I think Croatia today, they were resilient. They were always fighting back. I think second half was clearly going to Brazil. You know, they had 4, 5, 6 chances to score a goal. We thought it's all over with Neymar's beautiful goal. But they were just never giving up. And it's just fantastic that mentality that they have, the resilience that they have. And it shows off. It shows off that it's a small nation, but all their players play in the top leagues in Europe. Yeah. They're all top players.
We said that mental toughness before the game, didn't we? Like I said, played with the Croatian players, and it's that attitude never to give in. When Neymar scores that goal, you think it's all over. They was like, we'll fight to the end. And they got the goal, and they were absolutely brilliant. They changed up the way they played, pressed high, then dropped deep, and that togetherness got them through in the end.
Livakovic has had a sensational tournament. He was great again today. He set the tone for the shootout by saving the first one.
Oh, he really did. Throughout, when you think about the game as well, the big moments that he came up, made some crucial saves. And I think this carries on from the last game against Japan. They know the confidence, the ability that, OK, we're going through on penalties or we're at this stage again, but we believe we are going to progress.
It's heartbreak, isn't it, though? You see Marquinhos there. I thought it was a shoo-in to score. With his experience, the player he is, the way he's played in this tournament, I thought he would have the courage to put it in, but it wasn't meant to be, and I feel so sorry for that man Neymar. It wasn't his best game today, but he got his goal, but it wasn't enough.
It's always, we say it every time, that's always the danger, isn't it? If you save your main man to take the final penalty and you don't get that far, and that's what's happened.
Yeah, they're totally different approaches, obviously, for managers, you know, and recently, over the last years, you always saw the best penalty taker take the first one, set the tone, you know, make sure, and don't keep him for the fifth, basically, because he might not get the chance to.
So when you set up, would your best penalty taker always take the number one?
For me, Neymar would have been the number one penalty taker. Just set the tone, make sure you're going to score the first one, calm everybody else down. The momentum shifted with Croatia's equalizer. Absolutely, 2 minutes before the end of the extra time. You know, what goes through your mind then if you're a Brazilian player? Then you suddenly get scared, and you know the whole nation is expecting from you to go through to the semifinals. Oh my gosh! And then you start to panic a little bit in your mind, and you're far more nervous then, because you don't have any time anymore to kind of balance yourself out and relax a second.
Some real contrasting scenes down there at the moment. The kids of the Croatian players have been allowed onto the field, so they're all celebrating with their dads down there. And yet, at the other end, the Brazilian fans have stayed. A lot of the Brazilian fans have stayed. Obviously, there are a lot leaving, as you saw there, but the ones behind the goal have stayed. And it's like they're in shock, Micah.
Disbelief.
And the players are standing in front of them in disbelief as well.
They can't believe it, because they were so close, but yet so far. And we all thought probably Brazil would see out the game. It wasn't meant to be. And it's like they can't believe, because the fans here have been brilliant. But in fairness to the Croatia team,
I just saw one of the fair. Do you know what? One of the Croatian. You're watching some celebrations here, but right down on the pitch now. I'm going to say this whilst you look at this. One of the Croatian kids ran away from that celebration to try and talk to Neymar, and a Brazilian security guy came over and went, no. And actually Neymar then got up, turned around, spoke to the little boy, and then walked over. Let's show you the Croatian equalising goal once again. Petkovic's first goal for his country in over 2 years, Alex.
And how important and what a time to score. It come from Guardiola, massive tackle first from Fred. But so many players upfield at the moment, that tackle is what I'm talking about. 20 years old, the tournament that he's had, that then gives the belief to Croatia to go, okay, we're going to go down the other end, build on this momentum. Modric right there showing some composure and then going on to score. Yeah,
but like you said there, you know, Brazil should be trying to hold on to what they have. Don't get caught upfield. Orsic comes on, and it's a wonderful, like Chap has said before, first goal in 2 years. A little bit lucky with the deflection off Marquinhos, but fully deserved for taking that risk in the end. And yeah, it was always... It's not nice to see the scenes, you know, when you feel like you've let your team down at the end when you're so close from Brazil's point of view. But from Croatia's point of view, it was brilliant.
There were probably 6 Brazilians upfield when Guardiola won that tackle, which is also that balance between trying to get a second and kill it off and not leaving yourself too
I mean, we had that feeling throughout the entire 120 minutes that Brazil today didn't have the last piece of quality, the last piece of killing instinct to say we're gonna finish things off. You know, we were all happy, obviously, after Neymar's game, saying, you know, no, okay, they got the job done, but the job was never done. You know, so they didn't have that quality today, and they probably will think about it so many times now over the next few years, saying, why didn't we score the second goal? We had enough chances, half chances or whatever. Why did we let them come back into this game? Why weren't we not attentive enough in the last 2 minutes not to let them run up the field again and create that chance? I mean, obviously now they are devastated. They are devastated. They don't comprehend what just happened.
And they go marching on, Micah.
Yeah, 4 million people. And Modric, we have to talk about him. You know, when we thought Brazil was going to steal it, it was going to be his last World Cup. I mean, some of the passes he played today, the effect that he had on the game in terms of controlling the tempo. We talked about before the game, the tactical battle in that midfield. And what was allowed him, there was overrun in the midfield, and Modric just dictated at his pace, and Brazil didn't know what to do in the end.
Do you know who I want to talk about? The best player on the pitch was a right back. The game that he had, Juranovic, absolutely, through the 90 minutes. Up and down, his composure on the ball, just a right back that run the game for 90 minutes, I would say.
They are going to carry this, as you say, Jurgen, for a long time, aren't they?
It will sit with them deep, because they prepared for this since a couple of years. You know, this is not only happening right now for Brazil. They went through a qualifying campaign, which is the most brutal one in South America, with 18 games to play, to qualify and to get through. And they carry that chip inside of them, you know, for quite a long time now. They were hungry. They were full of energy. They really believed in themselves. But today there was a lack of quality.
Opens up the tournament, although you wouldn't want to face Croatia.
Oh, gosh, you know you wouldn't, because the experience that they bring, we saw it in 2018 and we're seeing it again, that you can't write anyone off in this tournament. We've had so many shocks.
We certainly have. We were thinking it might be a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. It certainly isn't going to be a Brazil-Argentina semi-final. Thank you very much to Micah and to Jurgen and to Alex. What a shock we have seen here then. Croatia have knocked Brazil out. Next up, Argentina against the Netherlands. Gary, we'll see you after the news. Bye for now.
The first quarter-final tie of the Qatar World Cup 2022. Here's Neymar, but Livakovic, his reactions have been razor sharp. It's going to extra time. They're walking their way through. Neymar! 1-1! It's been buried by Begovic. It's another one that's going to be sorted by a penalty shootout. Marquinhos has to beat Livakovic, and he hasn't done it. Croatia are in the semis.
Not any day, folks, it's Derby Day.
has found the winner! Fabulous from Chloe Kelly.
Manchester City versus Manchester United in the Women's Super League. Live. Sunday at 12:15 on BBC One and iPlayer.
They've been buried alive, tricked and betrayed.
Laddie's an actor.
Will they get the traitors before the traitors get them?
You must murder in plain sight.
Let the mind games continue.
No.
The Traitors continues next week on BBC One and iPlayer.
Where do we go?
Now BBC One, the early evening news with Sophie Rayworth.
Good evening and welcome to the BBC News at 6, a little shorter than usual tonight, and this is why Brazil, one of the World Cup favourites, have been dramatically knocked out of the World Cup by Croatia in another major upset in the tournament. They lost after the match went to penalties. Our sports editor Dan Roan is in Qatar on a day of high drama and shock. Dan.
Sophie, Brazil had come into this quarter-final against Croatia in scintillating form. Their 4-1 thrashing of South Korea in the previous round, reinforcing their status as pre-tournament favourites. But Croatia had other ideas, as Nesta McGregor now reports.
Passion, controlling the tempo. What Brazilian fans embody off the field, the team displays on it. And if so far Croatia have quietly gone about their business, well, they've started to find their voice as well. With both teams adopting a cautious approach, it wasn't until the second half that Brazil threatened to break the deadlock. Each time, Dominik Livakovic stood firm.
His reactions have been razor sharp.
Brazil frustrated. Croatia, finalists 4 years ago, had forced extra time. A closely contested game, 30 minutes from penalties, unless someone could provide a moment of magic. Step forward, Neymar.
That's what we've been waiting for!
A goal which drew him level with Pelé as Brazil's all-time scorer and had his team with 1 foot in the semi-final. But Croatia had other ideas.
1-1!
And when Mislav Orsic scored,
he's taken Croatia to the brink.
Marquinhos had to do the same. The Brazilian beat the keeper, but not the post.
And he hasn't done it!
Croatia through to the semi-finals of the World Cup.
So this tournament continues to provide extraordinary excitement. The favourites have been foiled. Brazil, inconsolable. Croatia, a country with a population, the fraction of Brazil, just 4 million, once again proving the doubters wrong. Very reminiscent, of course, of 4 years ago in Russia when they made it all the way through to the final. 2 penalty shootouts on that occasion, showing extraordinary determination here this evening. And they will play, we now know, either Argentina or the Netherlands, who play in the second quarter-final later on this evening in the next round. Now, England, they have made huge strides, haven't they, in recent years? But this match against France in their quarter-final tomorrow evening feels very special. Manager Gareth Southgate bidding to become the first coach to lead England into 2 semi-finals at the World Cup.
England have become a revitalised force under Gareth Southgate. The underachievement that defined them consigned to the past.
England win a World Cup penalty shootout!
But having breathed new life into the side, now comes perhaps the greatest challenge of the manager's tenure. Masterminding what would be England's first ever win against defending champions at a World Cup.
I think there's always been a level of respect for England, but I think we've got credibility now. It's a special night. I think you're imagining a Saturday night, everybody at home, playing the world champions is England-France anyway, the history of the two countries and the sporting history as well. There's so much on it, so they're brilliant nights to be a part of.
Unbeaten and high on confidence, England have looked like genuine contenders here.
Hammered home!
And today, another boost. Raheem Sterling welcomed back after flying home amid a burglary drama as Southgate boasted a fully fit squad. Possessing the talents of star forward Kylian Mbappe, France are bidding to become the first team in 60 years to retain the trophy, but their captain admits he's been impressed with their opponent's progress.
I believe that this team is getting mature and ready to compete for trophies now, and we have to make sure that we will be ready to challenge England on Saturday, because it's going to be a big battle.
England have been here at their beachfront hotel in Al Wakra for 3.5 weeks now. But they now know that if they're to extend their stay here any further, then they're going to have to do what only 3 other England teams have achieved in history: win a quarter-final in the World Cup. This, a defining moment for Gareth Southgate and his side.
The omens are good. England winning both previous World Cup encounters with France, the most recent 40 years ago.
I remember coming home from school, I was a big fan of Brian Robson, and he scored after 27 seconds. And that game, the 2 goals he scored in particular, sort of caused me to fall in love with England football and England in World Cups for definite.
But do France hold the trump card here, with this World Cup enhancing Mbappe's status as arguably the best player on the planet? Their fans believe so.
And so long as we can get the ball to him, I think England, we can overcome England 2-1.
You should be worried no matter who you're facing, because it's a knockout stage. But I feel like they are more confident, especially Kylian. He's been very confident in this World Cup, and he'll keep performing.
He's a dangerous player, but you've got them all, haven't you? We've got to beat the best to be the best. So, you know, bring us Neymar, bring us Messi. Doesn't faze us.
But if England are to get through, they're going to have to find a way of stopping the tournament's leading goal scorer, and that is a daunting task.
There is this sense here that if England can stop Mbappe, then they can stop France too. But I think that is a dangerous attitude. They have to look at the likes of Giroud, for example, as well, and Griezmann. The whole French team, in fact, poses a threat to Gareth Southgate's side, but they have impressive strength in depth. They're very much in form, high in confidence, and there is a real sense that England are a better side than the one that reached the semi-finals of the last World Cup 4 years ago and the final of the Euros last year, that they've developed since then, and that this is the culmination of a journey that Gareth Southgate and his side have been on now for some time. We're about to learn an awful lot about this England side. One thing's for sure, after Croatia's remarkable win over Brazil this evening, nothing in this tournament can be taken for granted.
Indeed. Dan Rome with the latest there from Qatar. Thank you. A hospital trust has apologised to a woman for failing to tell her for 7 years that a surgeon had left her with a life-threatening injury. Louise Dempster was told that she suffered a massive hemorrhage after undergoing a caesarean section because of the size of her baby. In fact, it was caused by surgical error. That only came to light more recently when a document was uncovered during an inquiry into poor maternity care at East Kent Hospitals Trust, an inquiry that began after a series of reports by our social affairs correspondent Michael Buchanan. Here's his latest.
All I remember is my mum screaming for help and her stroking my hair and telling me she loved me. And I knew that something was wrong if my mum was panicked.
Louise Dempster owes her life to her mother, Linda. A registered nurse, she was the one who spotted her daughter's health deteriorating in the hours after she'd given birth to her son by caesarean section.
I was sitting talking to her and I just saw her, drift away and her eyes roll back. Her bed was it was blood from head to toe, literally.
Louise had suffered a massive life-threatening hemorrhage and was rushed to theatre at the QEQM hospital in Margate. She needed 6 litres of blood, but fortunately survived.
We were told she had a ruptured uterus because we had a big baby that had been labouring for a long time.
The family requested the medical notes which confirmed what the surgeon had told them. But 7 years later, in September, the chair of an independent inquiry into maternity care at the East Kent Trust arranged to meet them. He'd found a document. It showed the hemorrhage had been caused by a surgical error.
I was just so angry, to be honest.
I felt like I spent so much time visiting professionals trying to find out what had happened. It was just continuous lies, and I think that's where the anger comes from. They had so many points they could have told me what actually happened, and they didn't.
The surgeon who failed to admit his mistake still works at the Trust. The independent review found that omitting key details from the accounts given to families was commonplace at the East Kent Trust.
There was a cover-up. What I don't think was that it was a planned cover-up. I think it was just the way that everybody found themselves behaving.
The Kirkup inquiry found that at least 45 babies over 11 years may have survived with better care, but there could have been more. The review only looked at 202 cases. For months we've been trying to get an interview with East Kent's chief executive. She turned down our 4 requests, so after a meeting of the Trust's board yesterday, we approached Tracy Fletcher. I want to talk to you about the maternity inquiry. As you know, we've tried several times to get an interview with you. Why do you continue to employ people at the Trust who have hidden the harm they have caused mothers and babies? How many preventable deaths of mothers and babies have there been at the Trust in the past decade?
Sorry.
This evening, Ms Fletcher said the Trust apologised for both the error in Louise Dempster's care and failing to explain what went wrong. The family do have a healthy son and grandson, but the mistake has had a lifelong impact.
My mental health has probably been affected by it. I also feel like I've never had the opportunity to have another baby, which I really wanted to. It's hard.
Louise Dempster ending that report. And if you were affected by details in that report, you can visit bbc.co.uk/action line, or you can call for free at any time to hear recorded information on 08000 155 998. The Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has announced plans to shake up the regulation of the UK's financial sector, relaxing some of the safeguards imposed after the 2008 financial crisis. He says the reforms will cut red tape and boost growth, but critics say his plans risk forgetting the lessons of the past. Our business editor Simon Jack reports.
October 1986, the so-called Big Bang, widespread financial deregulation in the UK, which ushered in an era of buccaneering, risk-taking, freewheeling. But in 2008, the wheels spectacularly came off. Banks around the world went bust, requiring tens of billions of taxpayer-funded rescues. Tough rules to stop that happening again are now being reviewed or binned.
The banks have become much healthier financially since 2008. We put in place a process so that financial issues can be resolved, which we didn't have before. But on that basis, we also want to make sure they can compete with other financial centres, whether it's the United States or Asia.
Among 30 reforms announced today were plans to reconsider which banks really need to separate or ring-fence their retail operations from their riskier investment divisions, review rules on approving or punishing individual senior executives which have delayed or scared off hires from abroad, and these reforms come on top of measures already announced to scrap an EU-wide cap on bankers' bonuses and allow pension funds to invest more in long-term, harder-to-sell and therefore riskier assets to help fund the government's levelling up project. Global banking chiefs said the UK needed to move with the times to compete with other financial centres.
London should not in any way take for granted its kind of preeminence and its dominance. So any reform that is pro-growth, which looks at a vision for financial services overall, and which makes the UK competitive, is very timely and very important.
Financial services make up 10% of the entire UK economy. It generates enough tax to pay for 2/3 of the NHS. It is an economic powerhouse. But as we found out 15 years ago, it can also be a financial wrecking ball. Now, the banks here are much stronger than they were on the eve of that financial crisis. But there are many who think that rolling back regulation to boost growth is not without risk. In fact, some argue it's precisely because financial services are so important to the UK that it needs tough regulation.
We cannot afford another gamble with financial deregulation, because what will happen is that if it goes wrong, the city will still walk away with its profits and its bonuses, but yet again it'll be ordinary people and ordinary taxpayers who will have to pay the price.
Both the city and the government are convinced that not changing is the biggest risk to future growth of all. Simon Jack, BBC News.
Now, a very cold week ahead. Here's Stav Dines with all the details.
Thanks very much, Sophie. Indeed, it will be a cold weekend, and for much of next week, it's looking very cold as well. We're wrapped into this Arctic air for quite a while now. And through the weekend, although there will be some sunshine around, we're likely to see some icy patches and also some freezing fog developing too. Now, through tonight, we'll see areas of rain, sleet and snow affecting northern Scotland, around some western coasts as well. But for many, it's dry, clear spells, a bit of freezing fog around, another very cold night to come, which is down to -6 to -8 Celsius in places. So we start the weekend off on a freezing cold note. Plenty of sunshine around. Have an area of sleet and snow affecting the northeast of Scotland. Some of this could be quite significant. Further wintry showers for Northern Ireland, Wales down towards southwest England. But elsewhere, a little bit of mist and fog and some sunshine. But a very cold day, and temperatures not getting much above freezing where we have any freezing fog patches. And then through Saturday night, it turns even colder for many, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, where we'll have lying snow there. And again, there could be some issues with freezing fog patches through parts of England and Wales throughout the day on Sunday, so that could lead to a very cold grey day wherever you are. Some further snow showers across northern coastal areas, a few down towards the Irish Sea, and then later in the day could see some sleet and snow affecting the far southeast of England. You have to stay tuned to the forecast for all the updates, and the weather warnings will be online. Sophie.
Stav, thank you. And that is all we have time for tonight, with more World Cup football on the way. But before that, on BBC One, it is time for our news teams across the nations and regions. Goodbye.
Well done, Croatia. Who's going to join them in the semi-final? Netherlands v Argentina here in just a moment. And get ready, England take on France tomorrow. Enjoy all the build-up with World Cup Daily on BBC Sounds. And get the latest headlines and interviews from the England camp via the BBC Sport website and app.
Tonight, the class act from Sister Act, Whoopi Goldberg, tells us why her latest film took over 20 years to make.
BAFTA-winning comedian Mo Gilligan is here with the ultimate test for famous voices.
And we gear up for Gift a Bike for Christmas.
See you at 7 on BBC Two.
I've taken on a missing person case.
Missing since 1974.
A 5-minute walk, she's never seen again.
I don't care if it's been half a century or half an hour. That man has to pay for what he did to her.
Strike, Troubled Blood starts Sunday at 9 on BBC One and iPlayer.
Welcome to Friday night on BBC One. Anthony here with you live. The stage is set as two heavyweights prepare to lock horns in Qatar. A semi against Croatia awaits the winners as Netherlands take on Argentina at the World Cup.
This is the stuff of dreams! Here we go!
They call that a tango.
He's a confident boy, isn't he?
Cruyff, Kempes, Bergkamp, Messi. There's a bit of history to this one. A place in the World Cup semi-final is at stake.
Netherlands and Argentina have served up some magnificent World Cup moments. A classic clash of two great World Cup nations. Cruyff onside, in Manchuri and does. Kroll, yes! 4-0 for Holland. Menotti, the Argentinian manager, has promised a festival of football. Kempes! 1-0. It's there, they've equalised. And it's gone in! Argentina win the '78 World Cup.
Kluivert! Lovely play by Holland. This is Lopez, and it is 1-1. Beautifully pulled down by Bergkamp. Oh, what a goal! Dennis Bergkamp has won it for Holland.
It was tense, it was tactical. Both sides had their moments. Place in the World Cup finalist stage. Lionel Messi versus Arjen Robben. And it's saved by Romero. Here go Argentina. This is a colossal clash.
It's the 6th World Cup meeting between Netherlands and Argentina. 71-year-old Louis van Gaal, one of football's great characters, says his team have a score to settle after their semi-final defeat in 2014. Lionel Messi played that day, but Argentina were beaten in the final by Germany. Both men have one last shot at the biggest prize of all. We're here at the Lusail Stadium, which will also host the final next Sunday, but it could be Buenos Aires for all the noise being made by the Argentina fans. Alan Shearer and Rio Ferdinand can enjoy this one as neutrals. Not so Pablo Zabaleta, who played in that 2014 semi-final. How are you feeling, Pablo? Confident?
I'm confident, Gary.
Yeah?
I'm confident, yeah.
That's good.
Well, what we saw Brazil against Croatia, you know, you never know at that stage of the World Cup, but yeah, I'm positive.
I don't want to be the messenger of doom, but Argentina's last 9 knockout games at this stage of the competition, the knockout stages have fallen to European opposition.
I know.
Does that worry you at all?
The European team been dominating the World Cup. If you look at the last probably 3 or 4 World Cups, it's always been really tough to play against European teams. They're well organised, and I think today is a tricky game for Argentina.
Yeah.
You know, that Netherlands team is full of quality players, and it's going to be really hard.
Tough text. Lionel Messi, Rio, you called his performance in the last round the best individual performance of the tournament. I have to say, Mbappe, I think, played the next day.
Yeah,
he did. But this is tougher opposition, this one.
Yeah, and it is tough for opposition, but for the last 15 or so years, Messi has been unlocking teams, unlocking tactics that are set up for him. He has always been the difference, and he's used to this, and this is the environment that he seems to thrive in. So this will be no different for him. This is a walk in the park any day. It's the normal for him. Training, games like this, environments like this, Messi just comes alive, and we hope that he does today. I do, just as a football fan. I've got no allegiance to either of these teams, but as a football fan, you come to this stadium, you watch on TV to see the greatest players perform.
Yeah, that's what you want to see. Here's a stat for you, Alan. Netherlands have beaten the African champions, Senegal. They've beaten the Asian champions, Qatar. They've beaten the North and Central American champions, USA. Can they add the South American champions to that?
Yeah, they can. Van Gaal's the oldest manager in the competition, most experienced, and he seems to have a really good team spirit in this team. Undefeated in 19, only conceded 2. For all of those reasons, what an incentive, having looked at the result that's just happened, Brazil out, for them to go to the semi-final and play Croatia. So yes, they can.
Yeah, OK. Well, as Alan's just told us, we already know one of the semi-finalists after Croatia's win over Brazil in a penalty shootout.
Croatia's goal is to reach a 3rd World Cup semi-final. Croatia do it their way against Brazil, who very much do it their way. Pasalic. It's a really dangerous ball. It's not fizzed along, but no, I found it fascinating. Here's Neymar. And there was Livakovic. Well, he falls for Lucas Paquetá, it does now, but Livakovic has been up to everything that's come his way. Extra time is looming, Croatia time. What about that from Petkovic? And it's over the top. Neymar! That's what we've been waiting for. Orsic pulls it across. 1-1! It's another one involving Croatia that's going to be sorted by a penalty shootout. It's a save from Livakovic, who's at it again for Croatia. Marquinhos has to beat Livakovic, or Brazil are out of the World Cup. And he hasn't done it! Croatia have yet again! They truly are a footballing miracle!
I have to say I didn't see that coming, but those Croatians are tough. And that'll now play either Netherlands or, of course, Argentina for a place in the World Cup final. Portugal take on Morocco, and the winners of that game will face France or England. Gareth Southgate's team have been making their final preparations for that meeting with the reigning world champions. We'll hear from Jordan Henderson at half-time, but here's how they line up here tonight. Emi Martinez continues in goal in a team featuring one change. Lisandro Martinez comes into defence as Argentina switch to a back 3, lining up alongside Romero and Otamendi. Rodrigo de Paul has been nursing a muscular problem, but he's fit enough to start, while Acuna and Molina move to wing-back. Papu Gomez misses out after sustaining an ankle injury against Australia, meaning it's Messi and Alvarez in attack. Andries Noppert has played every minute of this tournament after making his Netherlands debut in the opening group game against Senegal. The back three of Van Dijk, Ake and Timber continues for a fourth successive game. Frenkie de Jong and Martin de Roon continue in midfield, while Daley Blind wins his 99th cap. Cody Gakpo moves to 10, with Davy Klaassen dropping out in the Netherlands' only change. Steven Bergwijn joins Memphis Depay in attack. Depay has scored 24 goals and assisted 10 in his last 30 internationals. In 11 World Cup matches, Louis van Gaal has never lost in normal or extra time. Argentina on penalties, his only defeat. The former Ajax, Barcelona, Bayern Munich and Manchester United manager has had prostate cancer recently, but remains an irrepressible force of nature. The court of King Louis is enjoying a renaissance.
Ik ben 71. Ik zie er wel uit als een god. Mag je zelf weer een antwoord bedenken, net zoals je mijn telefoon hebt gevonden op het toilet.
Good save by Noppert. Outstanding save.
Het is toch wel een tamelijk sensationele keuze voor Andries Noppert. Waarom kies je voor hem?
Omdat hij normaal gesproken de ballen tegenhoudt. Ik heb gezegd dat we een selectie hebben om wereldkampioen te kunnen worden. Je kan je mening geven. En ik ben het niet met eens.
Weet blijft het de finale.
Nou, dan zie je ons.
This is one of the best goals you'll see in this World Cup.
De jongen vrij kan geven, dan hoeven ze mij niet meer te zien. Ze worden wel een beetje ziek van mij. Dank u wel. Angel Di Maria is gewoon een hele goede voetballer. Dat hij mij de slechtste trainer noemt, ja, dat vind ik wel heel erg. Maar het is niet anders. Een coach moet wel eens beslissingen nemen die niet altijd goed zijn. Hier zit er nog één naast mij. Memphis Depay. Die was ook bij Manchester. En nu zoenen we elkaar op de mond. Dat gaan we niet doen, hè?
You'd take a kiss on the lips playing a World Cup, though, wouldn't you? I suppose nowadays, even from Louis van Gaal. You left United, didn't you, just before Van Gaal got there? But I know you've spoken to Robin van Persie about him. What does he think?
He loved him, and importantly, I spoke to him during the World Cup in Rio, and they had a decent tournament. But one of the things that stuck with me, and I asked him, "What's the manager like?" And he was like, "Listen, he tactically sets us up and tells us how things are going to unfold. And in a couple of the games, what he's told us was going to happen before has played out in the game. And when a manager has that impact on a squad, it generates confidence. And you can see he has confidence. He has conviction in the way he sets his teams up, but that translates then to the team. And this team, you can see play them. They're 19 undefeated since he's been in charge, Louis van Gaal, when he's come back. So he's a force of nature, just from character alone. He's a fantastic person to be around, I'm told. And you need that when you're in environments that are closed like this at a tournament. You need somebody like that, inspirational at the helm.
Absolutely. Angel Di Maria, not so complimentary about him. I think he described him as the worst manager he ever worked with.
Some honesty from Di Maria.
Let me take you back to that semi-final. What was it like playing against that Dutch side?
Well, it was. I have to say, it was a boring game. I cannot even remember.
I was there. I watched it.
Remember that
really
game?
dull.
It was awful. But you know, semi-final of the World Cup, I think both teams playing really well defensively, trying not to make mistakes. They have a lot of quality on front with Percy, Robben, Sneijder. I mean, it was a tough match, but we did well, and then we won on penalties.
Yeah, certainly did. The wing-backs are very important for the Dutch, Alan. Rio, sorry, aren't they? And he's got Denzel Dumfries, who's been really impressive. I was wondering if every Denzel has to be named, his surname has to be a town or a city. You've got Denzel Washington, and also Denzel from Only Fools and Horses was Denzel Tulsa.
Oh, was it?
There you go.
Okay.
How about that for you?
He's the most famous.
Completely meaningless stat. But he's been really good, hasn't he, Denzel Dumfries?
Yeah, and he's integral, just like Daley Blind. They're both integral, the wing-backs, to the way that Louis van Gaal sets his team up. They're the outlet, they're the team that get beyond. I mean, they're the players that, get beyond. And he's a player that you look at and think he's athletic. He has the ability to beat people 1v1 and face them up. But look how high he starts there in this transition of play. He's up high on the pitch, cuts it back. It's a great finish from Memphis Depay, but he's there, he's the outlet. And again, hanging around in these positions here, it's not just about being there, it's about having the quality to pick people out. He's just not throwing the ball in there willy-nilly. He's actually picking people out. Those cutbacks have been ever so dangerous. And then here again, probing on the outside. That area we just outlined there is the area he's thinking about immediately when he's in his position. Then once he gets there, there's no disappointments when he gets in there because he's putting the balls in dangerous areas where I'm sure you two alongside me would love to have been. But he doesn't mind working at the other end of the pitch as well. He gets back, he helps his team, and this is what I'm sure Louis van Gaal will be sitting there going, this is what my ideal situation is. One wing back to the other, Daley Blind from one side, the other wing back closing off that back post and finishing. He's been a breath of fresh air for them and a very, very important player, I'm sure he'll be today.
Yeah. Against the USA at times, Alan, they did seem to go a little bit man-to-man. Do you think they'll possibly do the same with Messi?
There's a good opportunity, a good chance they'll do exactly the same, and they're not afraid to do that. They'll say, OK, we'll go head-to-head, we'll go one-on-one. We're not frightened to do that. And Rio mentioned about Van Gaal and how well coached his teams are. Well, this has obviously been worked at. We know that they play the three at the back. Also, when they're defending, they want to hit you on the counter-attack, so they'll go there. And Van Dijk's not afraid to come into the midfield as well, because there's always one in behind, like Ake is there, and that's the system that they like to do. Blind's there as well, no problem. He can read the game, and they want to hit you, as I said, on the counter-attack with the pace that they have up front, with the two wing backs that they have. They'll say, fine, OK, come on to us, if you want to come and play. So it'd be really fascinating to see whether they do that in terms of Messi tonight, whether they go tight on him, man mark him like they are here and say, that's fine if you want to have the ball there. Then as soon as you get that, we'll come in and we'll close you down. And that's a really important thing for them, that they're comfortable in what they do. They're very good at it. They want to draw you on, and they're so well organised. And as I said earlier, they've only conceded 2 goals, so they know what they're doing. They're all on the same page, and they will make it very, very tough for Argentina tonight.
Indeed. Well, you mentioned Messi. Let's have a look at the man himself. He's 35 now, 1,001 matches, 789 goals. How much longer will we get to enjoy his sublime talent? A talent it probably won't surprise you to hear, that stood out from an early age.
Era un comentario general del barrio, a ese nene que se decía que iba a ser el futuro Maradona.
And Messi takes it up again. Give it to him and pray. Ahí está para pegarle Messi. Messi! That's what they came for. By train, plane and automobile.
The Messis are a typical Rosario family, humble, from a working class background. You could see those values, the family values, in Leo. He married Antonella, his childhood girlfriend, from the neighborhood. He's still very close to that area, to his friends.
Hola, Carly. Alguien muy competitivo, con muchas ganas de ganarlo todo, buen amigo, cordial, compañero, tenía todas esas cualidades. Cuando lo pasaba a buscar, generalmente se sentía un golpe continuo de una pelota contra una pared. Y salía él con la pelota bajo el brazo, decirte qué pasa, y no íbamos a jugar a la pelota.
Lionel prácticamente nace en el club porque jugaban los hermanos y venía toda la familia. La abuela venía siempre a verlos a todos. Le pedía a Aparicio, que era el técnico de la categoría 86, que lo haga jugar. Aparicio tenía algunas dudas porque era muy chico, hasta que un día se decide a ponerlo.
Hay mucha gente que iba a verlo a Leo, conocido a nivel fútbol infantil. Yo tuve un periodo de 2 años fuera del club y cuando vuelvo lo vi jugar y me quedé extasiado.
Mirá, los rivales, lo primero que se escuchaba en el trasfondo, márquenlo al 10, que no le agarre el 10. La cosa muy fea que te iba a contar era péguenle al 10, porque también al Leo le han pegado mucho, porque no lo podían parar y había gritos de los padres de de los rivales diciendo márquenlo, más péguenle más fuerte. Lo que pasa es que Leo era imparable. Le quedaba la pelota, era más grande, le llegaba hasta la rodilla y sin embargo no se la podían sacar. Nosotros un torneo, recuerdo en Deportivo Rosario, por supuesto ganamos y llegamos a la final. Y cuando está por empezar el partido, Leo no estaba. Y bueno, 1-0 abajo, 2-0 abajo, hasta que en un momento se sienten los padres aplaudir, dale Leo, dale. Segundo tiempo, por supuesto Leo de arranque entra, nosotros arriba 3-2.
Yo había ido con mi hijo más chico ese torneo y cada vez que Leo agarraba la pelota mi hijo me codiaba porque no entendía, no puede ser, lo que hizo no puede ser, me decía, no puede ser.
Creíamos que había otros chicos que jugaban como Leo en otro lado de Argentina, por lo menos, ¿no es cierto? Bueno, después fuimos creciendo y nos dimos cuenta de que no, que Leo era único, era incomparable, era el mejor, es el mejor.
Well, you just can't miss real talent, and well, both of those two had it in abundance, didn't they? Two of the all-time greats of football, if not the two greats. So many similarities between the two as well. Diminutive, left-footed, brilliant dribblers, score goals, do everything, but very different personalities.
I think those clips of Messi when he was young is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I will keep watching it, for hours. It was just incredible, and he's still doing it. At 35, and still on fire.
So many of the things you saw in the clips, the way he beat people as a small child, you still see in his game now.
Yeah, it's the same way he takes the ball, the same way he feints players, shimmies, drops his shoulder. It's almost identical. It's crazy. We were sitting there like kind of gobsmacked to say like, wow, how can you be so similar and so effective at that young age and still be the same now? I mean, everything's been said about this guy, but he is phenomenal.
For the size of him, the strength, the hits that he has to take, because the way he's going past defenders at pace like he does. I mean, everyone's trying to take him out. We saw it at that age, and that's still identical now. Is that because of his trickery and his ability to run with that ball at speed?
I think today, what you were talking about in the clips that you showed there about man-to-man, if they go like that with him, and they adopt that with him and he beats someone, then the game opens up and then you're going to see that's the difference and how he affects the game there.
That's the thing, with man-to-man marking, that's the thing. Will he miss Di Maria? Is out injured still?
I think so. He was missed against Australia. He's the only one who can bring a bit of pace into that team, his dribbling ability, his crossing help Argentina in terms of creating chances, so yeah.
It looks like they've gone to match up the Dutch system with
probably, and that is because not Di Maria in the team, they shift to fire probably, absolutely.
He did that, didn't he?
Yeah,
early in the second half of the last game, didn't he? It was about after 2 or 3 minutes of the second half, he went to 3 at the back, didn't he?
Yeah. Lovely scenes behind us, you can probably see them at home, beautiful. The atmosphere is building once again, Rio.
Full of Argentina
turned up, don't they?
It's crazy.
Incredible.
It's like Buenos Aires,
That's
what it feels
brilliant.
like.
You should have seen the celebrations when Brazil lost the penalty shootout down there. They're all dancing and singing. I think that meant something. They didn't want to play Brazil if they
but just let humble, let's just this game, don't get too excited.
Is there a danger, Alan, that with both playing the same system that they might cancel
Yes, there is that danger, yeah. They both are going to play that system. They both are good at the back defensively. They're pretty mean. And I think it's a question, if they stop Messi, then I think they go through.
Argentina have only conceded 16 shots in the tournament. They make themselves in 4 games, the fewest in the tournament by anybody. Yeah. That's a real strength.
Yeah, they've been good in possession. They have good players in midfield to keep the ball well. Obviously, most of the team been sit down, and just give Argentina the ball. But I think today they have to be aware of, especially the pace up front.
Who's going to win, Rio?
I think it'll be a tight affair. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Argentina Messi-inspired victory.
Pablo, I'm not going to put you on the spot because I know you don't want to jinx it. I know, you told me, please don't ask me. Please don't. Don't do it. Alan.
Holland I think it's going to be a long night. It wouldn't surprise me if he went all the way to penalties.
I've been looking forward to this one. It's a goodie. Argentina versus Netherlands. The winners will face Croatia, Martin Keown and Jonathan Pearce.
Thanks, Gary. Evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us at the mighty Lusail. Tonight's winners, of course, will stay here for that semi-final against Croatia and perhaps a final itself. What drama we could have. Louis van Gaal's story of battling cancer to the brink of World Cup histories. made for Hollywood. The legend of Lionel Messi has been a blockbuster for years. The Dutch coach will equal Luis Felipe Scolari's record of going his first 12 World Cup games unbeaten if he comes through this. The Netherlands' progress built on a collective team ethic. Argentina have been indebted to the one great man. Lionel Messi's had a hand in 4 of their 7 goals here. He's netted 13 in his last 8 internationals. They've lost once in 40, and the 40,000 South Americans roaring them on here make them favourites. There are said to be 1,400 Dutch supporters somewhere in here. I can't really see them. There's a little gaggle just by the dugouts you can see there. Both have scores to settle from their World Cup history, but this is about the here and now, and just about now we will have the anthems. So many nervous faces out there, so much expectation. In 90 or 120 minutes and beyond, there could be desolation. Remarkable Van Gaal. 5 times they met at the World Cup. The Netherlands have won 2, Argentina 1. 2 draws. Astonishing. 90,000 the other night were in the Plaza de la Plata back in Argentina, watching their victory against Australia. 40,000, I reckon it's more like 60,000 here supporting Argentina. Messi's face as he looks to the heavens, his great mate Neymar is out of the World Cup. Will it actually be his tournament this time around? Well, with the remarkable World Cup story of Dutch keeper Andries Noppert have another dramatic chapter if it goes to penalties. In front of him, 1 Netherlands change. Steven Bergwijn starts for the first time since the second game against Ecuador. Ferry Gakpo is expected to drop into the role off the front 2, where he started the tournament against Senegal. It didn't work. He kept wandering wide. He was much better when pushed further forward. Depay scored 12 in qualifying. No European player was involved in more games. And Louis van Gaal says this is where the tournament starts. The referee is from Spain, much to the pleasure of Van Gaal. He was praising Mathieu Laroche yesterday. He took Qatar's loss against Senegal and Iran's group stage defeat to the USA. Can be a little bit inconsistent with his yellow cards. 2 wonderful rival captains. So many moments of Messi magic so far in this competition. Now we have the VAR team, Alejandro Hernandez of Spain and his assistant Drew Fisher. Argentina starting as they finished against Australia with a back five. Lisandro Martinez starting. Papu Gomez drops out of the lineup with a sprained ankle. That's their only change. Crucially, Rodrigo de Paul has recovered from a muscle problem because no one has recovered the ball quicker than him in that Argentina side. Di Maria is still not fit enough to start. Lionel Messi scored in the semi-final shootout against the Dutch in 2014. Daley Blind, by the way, was on the beaten side. The Messi needs 2 goals to become the top Argentina scorer of all time at World Cup football. We're nearly ready to go, Martin. Key points for you in this.
Well, the respect, first of all, that Argentina have shown by changing their shape. I'm really surprised by that. Of course, the team is geared to Messi, so this will be a real match-up here, very difficult to call. It'll be a bit of a tactical chess match here, Jonathan, tonight.
He hasn't started with a 5 all-tournament, Scaloni, and they're not actually, as they line up, starting with a 5. They've gone with a 4, but we'll see how that materialises. Can't really ever tell from the exact kickoff, though Martinez can play in a central midfield position. He's starting at the back, though. Will it be a night for Depay? Will it be a night for Lionel Messi? The Netherlands, of course, all in vivid orange. Kick us off and underway, kicking from left to right in this first half. And immediately they look for the threat of Denzel Dumfries with his pace and strength on the right-hand side. He is absolutely key for the Netherlands, and it's going to be a hard night for Argentina's fullbacks or wing-backs.
Dumfries is a real talent, will raid down that right-hand side for the Netherlands. Scored a goal, of course, in the last game. Looked really strong, a couple of assists.
Is indeed a back 5 for Argentina with the 3 centre-backs, Romero, Otamendi, who's had a good World Cup, and Martinez. Talking of a good World Cup, Frankie de Jong has played so well for the Netherlands here. Virgil van Dijk not missed a minute so far. Jurin Timber, what do you make of Jurin Timber, the Ajax 21-year-old?
Interesting, he's in front of De Ligt. I was a bit surprised by that. He's not necessarily the biggest of players, not especially quick, but nonetheless he's been relied upon by the manager, and even the goalkeeper, by the way, made his debut at the start of this World Cup. So Van Gaal is taking major risks, and they're paying off right now.
Never underestimate Louis Van Gaal's ability to surprise. Jurin Timber was playing young football, under 21 football in the Netherlands in January 21. Here he is in a World Cup quarter-final, an astonishing rise. McAllister, another who's had a very fine World Cup. Didn't he look calm, the Brighton players? They were singing the anthem.
Jonathan, what he does really well is when Messi drops deep, McAllister then goes and joins the front line. Just if anyone's thinking about following Messi, he just occupies that player.
His dad played with Maradona, and young Alex is playing with Messi. That's not a bad family double, is it? And here he is in his 12th international for Argentina. And he's got the fullback arriving here, and Acuna. Vesta crosses in, swept away by the watchful Martin de Roon, from a Middlesbrough player who anchors that midfield with Frankie de Jong. So Rodrigo de Paul, who had a bit of a muscle strain in the build-up to this. Out by Romero. Molina has interchanged his fullbacks a fair basis, although these are his preferred starting two, Molina and Acuna.
Molina is going to be playing on that right-hand side, so definitely as a back 5 from Argentina. He's seen it all before, Van Gaal, Jonathan, hasn't he? Tremendous experience.
They've lost 2 of 44 competitive fixtures under him in his spells. They're unbeaten in their last 36 competitive games under him. Asked this week whether or not he'd have another job after the World Cup, he pointed to his age and said, but look at me, I still look like a god. And he said, now translate that for everyone.
I thought you were talking about yourself there,
Now
John.
there you are. Now here's Van Dijk. He's got a sense of humour, Van Gaal, and the players have appreciated that. There's a real bond in this Dutch camp. Oh, now what's happened there?
Well,
off the ball.
Gakpo on the floor.
There's a collision with Romero, I think.
Well, I think Romero, we know what a physical player he is, and I think he's just making himself known there.
Oh, it was Molina. It was Molina. Sorry,
Molina, was it? Just look, just walk straight into him. Bang. I think he knows what he's doing there.
Looked deliberate to me, Martin.
Yes. The dark arts of defending.
Not that you'd know anything about that.
No, of course not. And I think Gakpo there is a difficult man to pick up because he has lots of pace. We know he's come to the fore in this competition. He's been outstanding.
Well, he nearly joined Manchester United, Cody Gakpo. Only 23. Almost inevitable that he will go to the Premier League, probably next summer. Here's Depay, it's given away. Messi picks it up. They've got an advantage here on the right-hand side. Cross cleared back to probably Molina arriving. Oh, it was Rodrigo de Paul arriving. His shot was blocked. Time here for Otamendi, who's rolled back the years, the 34-year-old.
You don't want to be giving the ball away cheaply, do you, to this team? Certainly with Messi out there on that pitch, a footballing god that he is.
Argentina were asked yesterday about tactics and formations, and their coach, Scaloni, said, don't really talk to us about formations, it's not the way we play. And then fluidity about them.
Well, yes, but then he changes it completely, Jonathan, the very next day. So take that with a pinch of salt.
And he's not played with a 5 from the start of a game in any of the World Cup games here or in qualifying. Or a 4-3-3, 4-4-2 man. Argentina throw. Whistles of derision for the lack of quality about the Dutch play. I've never been in a stadium outside of South America where I've seen here so many South American fans. Argentina calmly playing out to Romero. Across goes Nathan Ake to cover. Like Virgil van Dijk. They throughout this tournament went off for 1 minute against the USA. Jurgen Timber, those are the Argentina fans you can hear. Listen to them. Absolutely wonderful. Here's Ake. One of the players on a yellow card, by the way, Nathan Ake. Cunha is for Argentina. There's an amnesty. After this, you can't pick up a suspension through the semi-finals unless you're sent off in a semi. Here's Timber once again. Jurgen Timber.
You talk about the atmosphere, Jonathan, but nothing ruffles this Dutch team. They're just purring with the ball, nice and calm. Of course, taking in the occasion. They look very classy here. They're not being pressured too much by Argentina.
This is the way they've gone through this World Cup, calm, unruffled. They haven't played expansive football. Louis van Gaal has had criticism back at home for that, but he said this is the way he's coached teams for the last 7-8 years. Oh, goodness me, that's nearly a mistake by Noppet. All the coaching manuals wouldn't have mattered if that mistake had cost.
Dear, oh dear.
Gakpo. How's Denzel Dumfries wide? Inter Milan player. Looks for it again. So powerful down there, right-hand side. A wonderful European Championships. He's had a good World Cup, Denzel Dumfries.
Akune there, you can see they realise Dumfries is the danger man. They got to him really quickly there.
Interchange of passes to Pai, tried to find Cody Gakpo. taken away, and now the player goes for a goal kick. Nice little flick. 7 goals off Robin van Persie's national record. Depay, the Dutch goal scorer.
He had 5 players around him there, Messi. Wonderful. Could control it in a telephone box, couldn't he?
A rare talent. Enzo Fernandez, he's the coming talent in this Argentine side. They say scored a goal against Mexico, you'll remember, earlier on in the competition.
Very impressive. Fernandez sits deep in that midfield, and he can play as well.
A role to play in their last 7 games. The player is largely replaced Lo Celso in the squad. South American champions, but as Gary was saying in the build-up, the Dutch have beaten so many Confederation champions on the way to the last 8 here. It'd be an historic run for them if they could do this as well. Here's Rodrigo de Paul. Can they get width from the fullback? Headed away as far as Messi. Took a touch, lovely ball laid out wide. Acuna, oh, fierce driven cross.
That's both. Yeah, that's both fullbacks, Jonathan, we've seen now getting forward high. Okay, it was a bit of a wild cross.
Important for Argentina that Acuna is fit. He came into this competition with a bit of a groin strain. And on the bench for the opening game, has started the last 3. Looking for a 4th semi-final. Argentina under Lino Scaloni hoping to reach the semi-final for the 5th time.
He was nearly away there. Gakpo really quick. Just first touch let him down.
It's Louis van Gaal apparently who told Cody Gakpo it's not the right time to move to Manchester United. They're close to a World Cup. Towards Enzo Fernandez. Every player in the Argentina starting lineup based in Europe.
It's De Jong actually the one who's been given most of the work around Messi. I mean, he's coming into his sort of territory. He's a player, Jonathan, who's very, very quick actually. We look at what he can do with the ball, but I have to say he's a top defender as well.
Here is Messi. Foul. Down by Timber. Takes a free kick very quickly off. They go again, Argentina. Fernandez with a little bit of time on his hands. Made in by Molina. Quick feet of Gakpo, but let him down on that occasion. Here is Otamendi. His 3rd World Cup finals. Very poor he was in World Cup 10. Wasn't involved in World Cup 14. Callister. Here's Acuna. Ball up. Callister's continued his run and kept it in. It's beyond Blint. Rodrigo de Paul. Easy that for Andries Noppert. What a story this goalkeeper's story is.
Incredible. I think 18 months ago, Jonathan, he wasn't even the #1 goalkeeper at his club.
No, he wasn't. His career has really blossomed late. He's got to get a grip here a little bit. Romero. Flying in, but he'll say he won the ball, Martin.
Well, I thought it was a good challenge, actually. The referee just having a word there.
Dutch, the first team to face 4 holders of a continental trophy at a single World Cup. And at the moment, doing a very decent job on Argentina, who came into this as favourites to win. as did Brazil earlier. They're out. Messi will go back to PSG, and he will hope to be crowing. There's Timber. Ake. Blind, whose dad Danny, of course, is famous on the coaching staff. Martinez has had a good World Cup, great scenes when he made that late save in the last round and players smothered him under bodies. A remarkable World Cup for so many reasons. And up towards the front runner, Julian Alvarez of Manchester City. Once again to Lautaro Martinez, who's had a poor old World Cup really. That's Alvarez with a little layoff looking for Messi. Argentina felt they should have had a free kick there, Martin.
Possibly. Just interesting on the side. So Argentina looking really strong and quick. And they need to be, don't they? After, you know what Blint and De Vries did in the first game, the USA game recently.
Well, how's a look as the cross comes in? It's beyond him. Blint is in there. Romero got underneath him to do enough. It's played out now to Enzo Fernandez. They are very calm here, the Dutch.
They are just trying to turn the screw a little bit here on their opponent.
De Jong.
Of course, they play this way, Jonathan, all the time in this manner, and of course Argentina are about to change it, which is a great deal of respect they're showing their opponent, but there's teething problems for them, of course, in any time you change a system like that.
There's Ake. Argentina had to change things dramatically, didn't they, after that opening defeat by Saudi Arabia. But you actually go back to that game and analyse the goals they had disallowed, the chances they had, they should have won the game comfortably, really.
Well, there are 3 of them disallowed.
Friese waits out wide, and Timber has it. Strong challenge in there by Martinez. Frankie de Jong was the meat in the sandwich. He's okay. He's a tenacious player and hugely important for his country, Frankie de Jong.
He's brave as well. That's what I alluded to earlier. He's a fine player in there, does everything.
He's only missed 5 minutes of this World Cup. He's only missed one of their last 39 internationals. Probably more important for his club than he has, his country than he has been for his club in Spain, Barcelona. His club mate Depay. Brings it away. Timber's allowed to run. And the first piece of work we've seen from Emi Martinez. Emiliano Martinez of Aston Villa with the set.
Just a little bit too much on that ball. The right idea, though. Not seeing too many balls into channel. Everything's to the feet right now.
Does go to penalties. He was the shootout hero in the Copa 21 title-winning side in the semi-final. Saved 3 spot kicks there. See here, we haven't seen fans mixing together too much. There's the souk area, the old market area, where they seem to spend time together in a cafe. There are 1 or 2 pubs in hotels. I was out with some Argentine fans the other night in the Red Lion pub. You'll have heard more of that, of course, from other people, but they're wonderful, great company, and Belgians were in there, and German fans were in there, and English fans were in there, and it's like a World Cup where you travel around a country as opposed to just being in one city, which has made this unique. There's a great atmosphere in here tonight.
Argentina can't get near the ball right now. Really popping it around nicely, the Dutch.
Friese. Scaloni down there on the bench is going off alarming for Argentina. With his players, he's there, you can see him there in the tracksuit. He was waving them as if to say, get higher, get higher. Maria unfit to start. He's felt he's been the glue that has stuck that PSG dressing room together over the years. No longer there, of course, but wonderful player. He's the man who said that Louis van Gaal's the worst coach he's ever played under.
Wow. I thought Van Gaal dealt with that actually very well, didn't he, yesterday in the press conference?
Absolutely, with dignity and a little bit of humour as well.
It's the sort of mood he's in right now.
Has gotten into a little bit of a lull. Very tense. 20 minutes gone. Timber. Who pledged to win this for Van Gaal when Van Gaal was sick, when it was announced he was fighting prostate cancer earlier in the year. It's a lovely ball up to Depay in the channel. That Boas in the middle, just joined by Bergwijn now. That's a corner kick. That's the first corner.
Otamendi, it's a very good run though. Depay into the channel. Aki just clips a really nice ball in for him. He's the target. Van Dijk from these corners haven't been that successful so far with their corners and free kicks.
Morning qualifying Van Dijk, 6 for his country and